Hi everyone. The topic I wanted to talk with you about today is our reading volume and how that connects to our reading achievement. So the problem that we're encountering is that our current English curriculum doesn't require our students to read enough. We identified the problem using three different metrics. First, we have our school's Keystone scores, which indicate that our students are below grade level with their reading achievement. When we look at the research of what kind of volume of reading correlates with success on reading assessments and reading achievement, we know that our students should be reading at least 15 minutes per day, and this is a helpful visual to go along with that. Should be reading at least 15 minutes per day. We'd preferably have them closer to 30 minutes a day. You can see kind of how the more you read, the higher percentile you end up with your reading. So if we think about this in terms of how many pages should our students be reading a day, maybe that's something like 15 pages per day in our ELA courses. So this brings us to our final metric, which is our curriculum map. So we went through and did some looking at how much reading are we actually doing. So we pulled all the texts and looked at them through the courses. And the result we came up with is we're reading about 2 to 3 pages per day in a course, which sounds really low, but when you think about all the different things that go on an English course, that kind of makes sense. So you can see there's a bit of a disparity, and I think that that is kind of contributing to where we're at with our reading achievement. So how do we solve this problem? There's kind of two ways we need to approach it. It's through working on our changing teacher perception and offering resources, and those will both be both financial and. So to solve the perception issue, we'd like to have teachers attend a series of reading best practices workshops run by Teachers College. We've identified a series of 4 sessions that'll give some of the basic components of the need for a higher volume in reading, kind of the impact it has for students. Then the other resource we need is to have more access to books. Currently, teachers kind of have this idea that they can only be sending 2 class sets of novels per year. We don't actually have a policy anywhere that states that's true. That just kind of became the common approach to it. And if you take a look at our English budget, it's actually lower than our other departments. So that's a place we could approach it from, kind of evening that disparity between our English department budget and the budget in our other content areas. Would give us those funds to purchase more books, which will make it easier for teachers to have access to those materials and kind of support this new way of teaching and thinking we're asking them to do. So I know that each department isn't automatically entitled to a certain amount of books and a certain amount of funds, and it's more based on what teachers actually need and what teachers use. But I think the money invested here in this project will pay off for the school in the long run, so that financial commitment will be worth it. Because first, our school's on a school improvement plan, and part of that school improvement plan is that we need to be improving our test scores, and increasing reading volume is shown through research to help move in the right direction on that. So we are increasing our reading volume. As a result, our test scores should start going up. But also the perception of our school. We're a cyber school. Word of mouth is how a lot of students come to us. So if families see us putting more books into students' hands, it'll feel a little more like the experience they had in a brick and mortar school. And I think it'll kind of make people more willing to consider us as an option. So on the back end, this may lead to increased enrollment, which kind of brings money back to us through those new students. So not just that change of perception in teachers, but also the change in our school environment is helpful as well. So if we want the teachers to really buy into this new push for reading volume, we need to show that we're committed to the change, that we're kind of all in on it. And by committing the time, the resources, the structure, and the financial piece, I think that we'll have success with this proposal.